Mama, help me. What happened? Ritz, weren't you on a field trip? I don't want to go. I was stunned when my daughter, who'd left the house smiling and ready for her field trip, came back home in tears. I couldn't understand why she was home. For a moment, I was completely at a loss, seeing her in such a state. I spoke to her gently, and at the same time, a new question arose in my mind. How did you get back home? She was supposed to go to the amusement park by bus with her school. It didn't make sense for her to be back home 2 hours after she left. Choking back tears, she slowly replied, I came back in a car. They told me to get off right in front of the house. Raise Makan, a car and... I couldn't hide my surprise and raised my voice. Was it someone you know? It was Dad. What? I immediately called my husband, unable to stay calm. Hello, what's going on? What do you mean Susie's back home? I don't know anything about that. The call was abruptly ended. Filled with anger, I clenched my fists. Can you tell me what happened? Yeah, look inside my backpack. Inside her backpack, I found a mess. The lunch I packed with her favorite foods was scattered everywhere. The lid open. The juice in her water bottle was gone too. Did Dad do this? Yes, I left Susie with a friend and headed to my husband's office. I couldn't forgive him for ruining the field trip she had been looking forward to. Hasting into his office, I was ready to fight for my daughter. I'm Mindy, a stay-at-home mom in my 30s. I live with my husband Tom, who's 3 years younger than me, and our 6-year-old daughter Susie. But Susie isn't a child born to both of us. She's my daughter from a previous relationship. Maybe you should think about remarrying? Yeah, still can't forget him. I lost my first husband in a car accident. For years before marrying Tom, my mom worried about me and suggested I remarry. But I just couldn't think about it positively. Back then, I was working as an office temp, doing my best to provide for my daughter. That's when I met Tom. Aren't you working too much lately? Always staying late at the office? It's nothing new. I'm fine. I'm worried about you. Let me help so you can finish up early. Atin had just joined the company and was always kind to me. Honestly, I was trying not to get involved with men much at that time, but I couldn't push Tom away, probably because he reminded me of my late husband. You don't have to pay so much attention to me, you know. Why is that? Because I like you, Mindy. Tom. His sudden confession caught me off guard. But I'm divorced, you know. That's okay with me, and I have a child. There was a brief pause and I thought I saw Tom's eyebrows twitch. It's okay. His words shook me. I was happy, but responding right away seemed too irresponsible. I can't answer right away. I understand. I'll wait for as long as it takes. When I got home, I was torn about what to do. Later, I made a proposal to meet my daughter. If Susie accepted him, I'd consider his confession. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm Susie. It's nice to meet you. The following weekend, the three of us went out together. To my surprise, Tom and Susie's bond deepened more than I had expected, resembling that of a real father and daughter. Seeing this, I felt reassured and decided to give my answer. How about what you asked before? If I'm okay, then yes, I'd like that. That's great. And so we started dating. 6 months later, we got married. I was excited about our new life together, but marriage doesn't always go as planned. Our new life began in a home we rented, and Susie seemed happy, which put me at ease. However, that was only in the beginning. Now that we're married, Tom said he wants me to be a stay-at-home mom. What? Why all of a sudden? Susie is starting elementary school this year? Tom's expression turned irritated. Besides, working together in the same company is inconvenient considering what others might think. Maybe, but let's go with that. Okay. His earlier annoyance disappeared, replaced by a smile. Not wanting to argue just after getting married, I reluctantly agreed to his proposal. From there, our relationship gradually worsened. Okay, I'm off to the hair salon. Please take care of Susie. Sure, got it. See you later. Have a good time. And I left. This was the first time since getting married that Tom and Susie would spend time alone together. I was anxious, but thought it would be fine since they seemed to have a good relationship. However, when I returned home after about 2 hours, the house was eerily quiet. I'm back, no response from either of them. Learning something was off. I headed straight to the living room. There, I found Susie lying on the sofa. Susie, Find me. Oh, good. I was relieved and collapsed onto the floor. Susie had just been sleeping. Where's Dad? I couldn't feel Tom's presence in the house. He said he was going out and left me alone. I tried calling Tom, but he didn't answer. But an hour later, he returned. I'm back. I rushed to the entrance. Where are you? Oh, just went for a walk. What? Leaving Susie alone. Don't be so mad. Susie was asleep, and I just needed a break. But I couldn't overlook a certain change in Tom. In Tom, that's quite a nice smell for just a walk, isn't it? I noticed a sweet floral scent, like body soap, coming from Tom. It must be your imagination. Saying this, Tom quickly headed to our bedroom. And when he came out, he had changed his clothes, probably to get rid of the scent. It was troubling to think the worst so early in our marriage. What did you change? I got sweaty, and anyway, I'm hungry. Since then, I started to harbor doubts about Tom. He began avoiding us, and it pained me to see Susie looking lonely. It seemed Susie felt the same, sometimes showing concern for me despite her young age. Mom, are you okay? What's wrong? I'm fine. Scott's good. Were you worried about me? Thank you. I hugged my daughter gently. In this difficult life, her smile was my only happiness. It was my solace. Then came a night when I felt the most anger I ever had. I woke up suddenly and noticed Tom wasn't beside me. Thirsty. I was about to head to the kitchen when I heard Tom's voice. He seemed to be talking on the phone. Yeah, that's right. I'm tired, you know. I shouldn't have married someone with a kid. I only did it because she was pretty for her age. I was shocked by what I heard. I stood frozen in place. Tom had always been distant with Susie, but I never thought it was this bad. His complaints continued. Yeah, that's true. What should I do now, huh? No, that's going too far. And lately, she's not as close to me. It really gets on my nerves. Maybe I need to show her who's boss. I was surprised at his awful feelings towards Susie, but my anger towards him grew even more. I thought about confronting him but held back. Instead, I decided to record this conversation on my phone. When I got back to the living room door, he was still laughing and mocking us. I won't forgive this, so I recorded the conversation as evidence. Well, I'm going to bed now. See you. I quickly got into bed. I spent the night awake, unable to sleep. And it wasn't just Tom that was the problem. His mother was a big issue too. Mindy, aren't you thinking about moving in together soon? I'm sorry, but we don't have any plans for that right now. Has your husband agreed to this? I'll talk to him later. Sigh, I allowed my son to marry a divorced woman with a child. It seems Tom isn't keen on it either. That's because you've been saying things to him. No way. His mother thought I had stolen her precious son. Even Tom seemed a bit fed with his overprotective mother. Originally, she had suggested we move in together as a condition for allowing our marriage, but it was my father-in-law who stopped it. That happened when we went to his parents' house to announce our marriage. You don't have to insist on living with us. That's not the point. Please be quiet for a bit. What matters are the feelings of these two. What do you think, Tom? I might consider it eventually, but for now, I want to live with just the three of us as a family. Then it's settled. Tom says so it should be fine. Thus, we got married and started our life as a family of three. But now the hopeful person I was back then is gone, and I never could have imagined what would happen next. Hear this. What is it? Susie handed me a field trip notice when she returned from school. A field trip, huh? That's nice. Yeah, I'm excited. She looked genuinely happy, and seeing her like that made me happy too. Then Tom came home. What are you two happily chatting about? Susie's got a field trip coming up? Oh, where to? It's an amusement park in the next state over. That big place. It felt like a pleasant family conversation, which had been rare lately. Susie seemed satisfied talking and smiling with Tom. But at that time, Tom was thinking of something terrible to do using Susie's field trip. I'll be home late tonight, so don't wait until dinner, okay? Who started coming home late more often, seemed unusually happy when he did return. Something good happened. They knew nothing special. But again, there was the scent of body soap coming from him. I wanted to let Susie have her field trip without any issues, so I chose to tolerate it this time. Then, on the evening before Susie's field trip, I'm home. What a day. You're late again today. What, you've got a problem with that? No, not at all. Oh, by the way, I'll be going to work in the afternoon tomorrow, okay? Got it. At that moment, I didn't think much of his words. Looking back, it was strange, but maybe my interest in Tom had faded. And then the next day, Tom, you're leaving already? I thought you were working in the afternoon today. Yeah, I was, but I have some things to do. So I'll be heading out early. With that, Tom hurriedly left for work. He seemed a bit flustered, but my attention quickly turned to Susie. Is that everything? Yeah. Then have a good trip. Bye, I'm off. Susie left with a beaming smile. She'd been looking forward to the field trip ever since the day it was announced. Recently, she seemed a bit down due to my husband's behavior, but I thought this trip would cheer her up. But I was about to realize my mistake. It was about 2 hours after Susie had left. I guess she's probably at the amusement park having fun by now. As I thought this, I heard the sound of the door opening. When I went to the entrance, there was Susie saying, "Mom, help me." What happened? What about the field trip? I don't want to go. I realized this was no small matter. The smile I saw in the morning was gone, replaced by large tears. I couldn't understand why she was home, and for a moment I was completely lost for thoughts, overwhelmed by her state. I gently spoke to her. "Let's go inside for now, okay?" "Okay." I sat her down on the sofa and observed her, but she didn't seem to be injured. At the same time, a new question popped into my mind. How did you get back home? You were supposed to go to the amusement park by bus with your school. It's impossible for you to walk back home from there. Sobbing, Susie slowly answered, "I came back by car. I was dropped off right in front of the house." "A car?" I raised my voice in surprise. "Was it someone you know?" "It was Dad." "What?" I couldn't sit still and called my husband. "Hello? What's going on? What do you mean Susie's back home? I don't know anything about that." The call was cut off abruptly, and I was filled with anger, clenching my fists. "Can you tell me what happened?" "Yeah, look inside my backpack." As soon as Susie suggested it, I looked inside her backpack and found a mess. Her favorite lunch I packed was scattered everywhere, the lid open. Not only that, but the juice that should have been in her water bottle was also gone. Did Dad do this? Yes. Dix understood. I left Susie with a friend and headed to my husband's workplace. On the way, I got a call from the school. "Is this Susie's mom?" "Actually, yes, I am." "Is this about Susie?" The teacher who called sounded panicked. In my anger towards my husband, I had forgotten that Susie's absence would naturally be a concern. "Do you know anything?" "She just came back home a while ago." "Back home?" The teacher sounded like she knew something about the situation. "Do you have an idea what might have happened?" "I heard from other students that a man took her away." "I see. Anyway, my daughter is safe now. I'm really sorry for the trouble." "I'm glad Susie is safe. There's one more thing I'd like to ask." After a bit more conversation, I hung up the phone. It was probably my husband, Tom, who the teacher mentioned, and it seems like he did something outrageous. Maybe he acted on what he talked about over the phone before disrupting the field trip Susie was so looking forward to. I couldn't forgive him for that. "All right, let's go." When I arrived in front of Tom's workplace, I took a deep breath. It had been a while since I'd been here. I knew where Tom's office was. Mindy. Oh, there was a colleague from my temp days. One of the few friends I had back then. "What brings you here today?" "Just something." "You're here for your husband, sort of." "Still a happy couple, hun?" "I'll leave you to it then." My former colleague didn't know the situation, and it hurt a little, but I couldn't back down now that I had come this far. I burst into Tom's office. Everyone inside looked at me, including Tom. "Why are you here?" "I came to see you." "This is a workplace. Please leave." The office was Ava's with our unusual situation. I thought it might not be bad to let everyone know Tom's true nature here. "I came to talk about Susie." "That's something we can discuss at home." "No, it has to be here." "What nonsense are you talking about?" "Everyone here will find out what you did to Susie." Then someone from the back of the office approached. It was my former manager. "It's been a while." "Hello." "It's been a long time, manager. Please say something to her." The manager thought for a moment, then spoke slowly. "No, I'll take responsibility here. You have an urgent matter, right?" "Yes," I replied confidently. "So why did you do that?" "Do what?" "Making a mess of Susie's backpack, then bringing her home. The bull saw it." He grimaced for a moment and became defiant. "Susie wasn't feeling well, so I brought her back, that's all." "Then why were you at the amusement park?" "It's her first field trip to an amusement park in elementary school, right?" "I was just a little worried." "That's a lie, isn't it?" "Why would it be? I just got a call from her teacher." "You weren't alone, were you?" Everyone in the office seemed even more agitated. "There's no proof, right?" Tom seemed determined to deny everything. That's when I decided to play the recording I had made previously, in front of everyone. "Hey, what are you doing?" I wanted to see if you could still be so composed after hearing this. I played the recording. It was as horrifying as ever. Words like terrible and worse could be heard from the crowd around us. Tom had no escape now. Is this true? No, this isn't me. Yes. I was discussing a friend's problem. It's not like I planned to do anything to Susie. I couldn't help but smirk. But the word Susie isn't mentioned in this conversation, is it? Oh, Tom realized he had trapped himself. Able to withstand the cold stares from those around, he suddenly began to apologize, changing his tune. I was just following orders. It's not my fault. It's my mother's. Asked it you? Yes, it's my mother's fault, not mine. I was shocked to learn that his mother had been involved in this. But it didn't excuse what Tom had done. As I was thinking about what to do next, my former manager made a suggestion. Just leave work early for today. This isn't a situation to work in, right? Don't come in until everything's resolved. It seemed like a good decision. Then let's go. Though where? Just come with me. I forcefully pulled Tom out of the office and headed to his parents' house. During the drive, Tom looked anxious, understanding what was about to happen. We finally arrived after about an hour's drive. I dragged a reluctant Tom out of the car and to the front door. Hello, his mother greeted us. It's been a while. Why are you here? We have an urgent matter to discuss, I said, heading into the living room. There I found his father reading the newspaper. Hello, it's been a while. What brings you here so suddenly? There's something important you need to know, I replied. I made Tom sit down next to me and explained everything that happened today. Did you guys do all that? Wait a minute. That's just her fantasy, his father protested. I played the recording for his father, too. So what about this? Answer me, Tom. This was a conversation with my mother. Mindy and Susie weren't to my liking, so we thought to teach them a lesson. I just did what my mother told me to. I'm a victim, too. Tom desperately pleaded with his father, but his father continued without batting an eyelid. Even if that's the case, you had the option to say no. By not doing so, you're equally guilty. And after all, you were the one who directly acted. Faced with this undeniable logic, Tom fell silent. Mom, what have you done? He asked. I did it for Tom and this family, his mother replied. Then his father, with a fury I had never seen before, bellowed, how can that be an excuse? What you two have done could leave a lifelong scare of terrible memories. His mother, taken aback by his fierce reprimand, couldn't muster a response. Get out, I said. Leave this house. There won't be a second chance. But if you do that, what if Susie had been there? Tom asked, his voice trembling. She would have undoubtedly burst into tears from the intensity of the moment. Mom, come on, Tom pleaded, trying to pull his mother away. Wait a moment, I said, stopping them. You're not off the hook yet. I got a call from Susie's teacher. You weren't alone, were you? Someone saw you, right? You know about that too? Tom asked, shocked. I didn't do such a thing. Then prove it if you can, I said sternly. Dan, it looks like we have no choice but to divorce. Tom asked, defeated. If that's the case, there's no need for me to hold back. Like I said before, you'll have to leave this house, and you're never crossing this threshold again. That's impossible, Tom said, tears welling up in his eyes. I'm sorry, but you'll have to accept it. It's all because of her, I said, gesturing towards his mother. Don't blame me. Blame me for everything. It's all your own doing. Eventually, Tom and his mother were disowned and kicked out of the house. She probably never thought it would come to this. They lost everything just because they couldn't stand us. What a pathetic mother and son. I think this should be enough. No, this is more than enough. My only worry is more about your wife than Tom. Then leave her to me. She can't do anything now. You just focus on dealing with Tom. Yes, if you need anything, call me anytime. With that, I left my in-laws' house to pick up Susie. Mom, sorry to keep you waiting. It's okay. Let's go home. I took Susie and first headed to my parents' house. My mother was surprised but accepted everything after I explained the situation. Then I went to a lawyer's office to discuss divorcing Tom and his wrongdoings against Susie. I prepared the divorce papers and contacted Tim. The divorce papers will be arriving soon. Please take care of it. You're serious? Of course. I'm also going to ask for alimony. If you don't like it, prove your innocence. And I'm consulting a lawyer about what you did to Susie. Good luck with that. They wait. I quickly ended the call. I was done dealing with a husband like that. 2 weeks later, the divorce was finalized, and I successfully claimed a substantial amount in alimony. As for his mother, you've caused us so much trouble. That's entirely your own fault. Maybe you should stop blaming others. Quiet. You and your daughter should go to hell. I'll return those words right back at you. As expected, she tried to contact me. She was speechless at my response. I barely held back my laughter and hung up, blocking her number. Months passed. Dano. How are things on your end? Susby and I are doing well. Sip will visit you soon. That's good to hear. I look forward to it. From what I heard from my father-in-law, Tom and his mother were living together, still fighting over who is to blame. Such a hopeless pair. Well, they got what they deserved. Now it's just the two of us again. It's okay as long as I'm with you, Mom. Thank you. It was just Susie and me again, but it was for the best. Staying with a man like that would have been harmful to her upbringing. From now on, Susie and I will support each other and move forward together.